Well, hello from the Urban Bike Barn. Throttle Girl checking in. I told you I would at 3 o'clock Pacific time, and I do believe it's that time. So wanted just to say hi and thank everybody for checking in with me. I've kind of got you mobile right now because I was going to put you on a tripod, but that means I have to stand still, and I'm not very good at that. So I figured that I would hold this thing, and this is a whole bunch of new for me. I know I don't put myself out there as much as maybe some would say I should, and I'm kind of feeling that yearning of getting out and talking to you guys more than just posting pictures and stuff. So as I learn this Facebook Live stuff, my goal is to try to check in weekly on different things, about different parts and stuff on my bike, the things that I found through trial and error that work real well for me. Talk about events, different things, and also get more personal. You know, share a little bit about, you know, just me in terms of the rider and my life and being more authentic. I think we need that in the world today. If you ask me, we don't get enough of that in a positive way, should I say. And if you know me, you know that I say moving more than wheels. So today I really wanted to talk about the Tour of Honor. You see me posting on it all the time. I'm absolutely in love with this event. The Tour of Honor is fan-freaking-tastic. From talking from the Tour of Honor, I also want to talk about the sport of ultra riding. Again, I'm going to call it that because I heard somebody else call that the other day and I hadn't heard. Maybe I'm behind the curve. But, you know, when I try to explain to people what endurance riding is, it doesn't come across very easily. But when I say ultra, I have friends that run ultra marathons. That means they're going out and running 100 miles. And quite frankly, I think that's crazy. That's not my bag. But if I do ultra on the motorcycle, that's 100% my bag. I can relate to that. And it's important to know that it's not everybody's bag. Not everybody is out there chasing miles, chasing long distance, is willing to put their butt in the seat for 22 hours straight. But for some of us, it hits, and it hits a lot of different levels of things. For me personally, I'm an athlete. I grew up ski racing, and I grew up athletic by just the way I'm, my DNA. Maybe it's my great-grandfather's fault. He was one of the first stunt drivers in the country, Lucky Teeter's hell drivers. But so I blame it on him. But anyway, the point of the matter is what I really want to get across in this video is that, one, the sport of ultra motorcycle riding is not for everybody. But for those of us that do it, it rings true, and we love it, and we're passionate about it. And we are a community within this beautiful thing of this two-wheeled world that we live in. There are so many cool niches inside the motorcycle community that make this one big whole. Now, I don't care what you ride or how you ride, as long as you're riding. And even if you're not, but you're inspired by it, well, freaking throttle up. That's what it's about. It's about living life. You know, there's 7 days in the week, and some day isn't one of them. Is one of our favorite little coins, if you will. I see Rob Carlo on here. Hello from Florida, Rob. Hi, Rick Smith. What's going on, buddy? Yeah, so while I'm waiting for some more people to come on here and see, I don't want to keep repeating myself. I do want to just put a shout out to Steve and Dave Brooks. They are the founders of the Tour of Honor. Two brothers that had a vision of a way to give back to those that serve us civilians, military as well as first responders, both fire and police. An amazing way of being able to get out on the road, see roads that you have not seen before, as well as pay it forward, which is one of my favorite things to do, personally. It fuels my soul. So my hat's off to Steve and Dave for creating this wonderful thing that seems to be growing and moving people, and to all the volunteers that are scoring and really taking part in making the whole thing go down. It takes a tribe. So with that being said, I am going to come on over and talk about the Tour of Honor a little bit. And again, forgive me for moving around so much. I can't stand still. Tour of Honor, you can go to tourofhonor.com and really read in depth about what the event is all about. Excuse me for 1 second. I'm going to turn off these lights behind me because they seem to be blowing up. Oh, that's better. Hi. The Tour of Honor, I've done it for the last 3 years. You can see that these are the flags that I carry. I had my first year from 2016 when I won Wyoming and Nevada. Shared the first place with Rob Carlo on that one. And then 2017, last year I didn't get very many miles in. I had other obligations that were priorities in my life. And so I was incredibly excited to get the ones that I did get. But this is my flag for this year. Let me see. Oh my God, I gotta figure out how this stuff works. I'm not good at this stuff. I'm new. I'm not as techie as you all might think. I don't know where to flip it around. So I'm just gonna go this way. This is my flag this year. And I will show it to you here. As you can see, those of us that ride in the Tour of Honor, we put pins, patches, pictures, all kinds of different things to honor those that we are riding for, in a sense. On my flag, I'm number 330. It was the first number given to me when I first signed up. This year I've seen flags up in the 600s. So every year I choose to be the same number. Don't fix it if it ain't broke, is kind of my theory there. But on my flag, I have my father's USMC Devil Dog pin. I have an angel. Here, let's see if I can't do this. Come on now, work with me. Here we are. There's my dad's USMC Devil Dog pin. I put an angel on there with an American flag, blessing all of those who sacrifice so much to keep them safe and bring them home to us. And then I support the red, white, and blue pin, as well as I go over here, there's my dad. I'm going to show you a picture of him too. On this side, when I was just doing Nevada, I dropped the flag at one of my stops and it broke. So my mission after this is to super glue it and fix it. But that was a pin, this first one that's kind of fallen off here. That was a pin that one of the best rides I've done to date, which is transporting or helping transport a piece of World Trade Center steel to Quantico, Virginia. That's another story, another one to talk about. Representing 9/11 and never forgetting United We Stand. As many of you know, Rob and I ride quite a bit together, and he lost his brother that day. A father, a son, or excuse me, not a father, but a son and a brother and a best friend to many, he was. And so while I never had the privilege of meeting him, I feel like I know him, and I know that he's out on the road with us often. And I know how incredibly special he was to the family. So throughout the years, it's become a very special person in our lives. It's gonna get me all choked up. So I'm gonna just say one side of my flag goes to Michael Carlo, and the other side of my flag goes to my father and all of those in my family who have served. I come from a long line of military. While I never personally have, as Throttle Girl, one of my primary causes and things that I love to rally behind will always be the men and women of the United States military. That's going to choke me up. I can't imagine what it's like to be a wife or a mother or a father or uncle, brother, cousin. I have friends that have had to experience the car pulling up in the driveway with uniformed men to come knock on their door. And as this girl with the hair flowing behind me, I can only, I wouldn't have those privileges in so many other places of the world, much less as a human, but as a woman. And so for me to thank them and do what just little bit I can is everything. And so these men and women serve all over the country, all over the world. And, while a lot of them do come home, and most do in this day and age, it's still important to say that there's lots of times and lots of memories missed with their families while they are serving and protecting the world. So anyway, Gregory Coble, hello. Johnny Morton, hello from North Carolina. Love North Carolina. And yeah, I'm a ball of mush. I might be, it is heartfelt. Thank you, Brian. I'm a pile of mush inside most times. Might be strong and independent on the outside, but on the inside I'm a big old softie. So anyway, back to the Tour of Honor. Try to stay on track. Tour of Honor pays tribute to the men and women of service, both military as well as first responders. There's 3 different charities. When you sign up for the Tour of Honor, there's 3 different charities that are listed that a portion of your proceeds for your entry fee go to those nonprofits. One of which in particular is a favorite of mine, the Fisher House organization, which if you're not familiar with the Fisher House organization, that is an organization that basically builds homes where military men and women can heal with their family. They're always on VA properties across the country, and we know that our men and women heal faster and stronger and better when they are surrounded by those they love. So the Fisher House is pretty amazing. It's kind of funny, I said earlier that I grew up ski racing, that's the competitor in me, but it turns out that a girlfriend, loose acquaintance if you will, from many moons ago, I ski raced with her. Her grandparents started the organization, so that's those small worlds. But this is actually a coin, challenge coin. Many of you know what those are, that I actually received from the Fisher House outside of Boston. Pretty amazing opportunity to go and experience a run. I'm going to open up my computer here. Bear with me. If any of you guys, it looked like there was a couple events coming up. If you're in the New England area, I'd like to turn you on, if you will, to the Warrior Thunder Foundation. They were who reached out to me years ago, invited me to come rally with them. Darren Bean, this is an amazing man, veteran himself, started the organization, and they do amazing thing for our veterans in the New England area, and his whole volunteer, the men and women that helped make that happen. But he's the one that took me into the Fisher House, and it was pretty amazing. Again, I'm a freaking bunny rabbit chasing stuff. I got to stay on track, right? Tour of Honor. So now we know the amazing causes that it represents and why we're riding. The way it breaks down with the Tour of Honor is there is 7 memorials in every single state across the country. The goal is to travel to these memorials, pay honor and respects to them, and collect the sites. There are several different awards, if you will, during the calendar year for the Tour of Honor. This is not just an endurance race. This is not an iron butt type event specifically. This is an event that is meant to get you out, seeing more places, traveling on roads that you might not travel to get to these memorials to pay honor and respect. And that is the biggest thing. I can honestly say that in all of my years here of traveling, going back and forth across the country, there's been times where I will just beeline it across the state because I don't know what to look at or where to go, and I didn't have any reason to go anywhere, you know? But because of these different memorials and trying to check off and collect these, I have seen some of the most spectacular roads. I have met some of the most amazing people, and I can't say enough about the experiences that I've had. For instance, I was traveling through Missouri, minding my own business, cornfields, cruising, the iconic farm in the distance. I'm like, this is cool. I would never have gotten this on the interstate. Who knew? And all along, I was paralleling Whiteman Air Force Base, home of the stealth bomber. I had no freaking clue it was right there until, hope I don't get anyone in trouble with this, but I got buzzed by a stealth bomber. I got freaking buzzed. And the thing about this thing is, like I said, I was doing my own thing, and next thing you know, he came down on top of me from behind and then pulled up really hard in front of me. And the whole time, I thought I was dying. I grabbed my handlebars hard. I'm like, oh my God, this is it. And then once I got over that, then I realized oh my God, I gotta check myself, do I have to pee? And then after that, I managed to get my camera out and actually get a picture as it was pulling away. But he was probably doing touch and goes, if I'm real honest, because it was right next to the side of me. But man, it could have been a couple of young cowboys bored and just thought they'd do what they wanted to do. But I would never have had that experience if it wasn't for the Tour of Honor. When I got up to the town and I got to the memorial, I started talking to the locals, learning about the memorial, and oh my God, what happened to me? And turns out I ended up talking to a mechanic of these aircraft, and he let me in on a little secret of where to go to the end of the runway and park and be able to check them all out, and it just adds to the experience. So I really, my whole intention with this video today is to stress the fact that the Tour of Honor is for everybody, for every rider. Seeing a lot of chatter and a lot of banter on the different social media platforms of what people think it is, or I don't want to say bashing each other, but maybe just not having enough open-mindedness to realize that there's so many different types of riding and so many different types of riders out there that we can all get along and we're all in this. And I don't care if you get one checkpoint, one memorial, one state, or the whole country, like this event is for everybody. So I highly urge everybody to check it out. Again, the Tour of Honor, 7 memorials, every state across the country. The sites dropped April 1st. This will go on all season long into the fall. And at the end of the season, there is an award for whoever collects the most sites. The way the trophies work, where you might have heard I just won Nevada this year. The way the trophies work is the first person that collects the state, once the sites are dropped, wins the state. And the Tour of Honor awards first through third. And then you go from there. So some of us that are Iron Butt Association riders, our ultra riders, look forward to having the first ride of the season, if you will, to get out there and get after it. We're hungry, you know? So it feeds that side of us as well. That's not to say that I didn't take time at the memorials and take them all in and really pay tribute to, because that's really what it's all about, that and the roads. But yeah, I did it in 22 hours, Nevada. I hadn't been on my bike since September. I'm kind of embarrassed to admit that. There she is. Want to say hi to her? Aww, look at that. Rob Carlo just told me there's record numbers in the Tour of Honor this year, which is epic. Like I said, I think I saw numbers into the 600s, but yeah, it's an amazing way to get out and see different roads, different sites. The endurance side of it all, like I said, I got Nevada in 22 hours, went out, and that was amazing. It filled my soul. I had been like parked motorcycle syndrome all winter. I was hungry, I was yearning, and it filled that competitive side inside of me of why I love doing Iron Butts. It was over 1,200 miles, all in state, which gives other certifications as well. And I'll get into that here in just a second, but it isn't for everybody, and that's cool too. So that's why some of us go out there and we try to get the win, if you will, for the state. But it's a long season, man. And so there's lots of smelling roses along the way. And in 2016, I was the first woman solo rider to win a Tour of Honor, which I feel extremely excited as a woman to be able to hold that honor. Then I went on to Wyoming, and I ended up winning Wyoming as well, but you can go to my YouTube channel, Throttle Girl, on YouTube, and I actually filmed the entire thing. And so that was a more smell the roses type of a ride, but because of winter and weather in some of the states, there's still states that are available. So Wyoming, that was an incredible year again. On my YouTube channel, Throttle Girl, you can actually join in my ride. We win that together. So I think there's another woman this year too that won a first. If I'm right, I printed it out actually where the standings are right now. Nebraska, who knows? Nebraska, anybody know? Nebraska, Terry King? Terry King, I'm assuming. I don't know her personally, and if Terry King, you're a man, I'm sorry. But I was looking on there, I'm like, I do think that's another lady in the house. So this is what a certificate looks like at the end of the year. At the end of the year, this was from 2016, finisher certificate. Everybody gets one that collects a memorial. I collected Arizona, California, Idaho, Kentucky, Missouri, Montana, North Carolina, Nevada, South Carolina, Tennessee, Utah, Washington, and Wyoming that year. And it's rad. It says Kelly visited 49 memorials and completed an Iron Butt Association saddle sore extreme ride while honoring those who have sacrificed or are still sacrificing their lives and personal safety so the rest of us can enjoy life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Signed by Dave Brooks. So that's pretty cool. I like that too. And you'll see there that it mentions Iron Butt. And I had mentioned that I'm going to talk a little bit about that. Again, a lot of banter going on the social media. People judging people and talking about the way they ride and what makes them hardcore, what makes them not hardcore. And there is so much love in this community that, quite frankly, I just had to say it. Like, we can all get along and we all have different ways we like to ride. I don't ride ultra, I don't ride iron butts all the time, but when I do, I'm in my zone. It's the closest to God that I feel. I talk to my dad. It fuels me, and it's a part of the way I ride. That doesn't mean I don't like pulling a camper behind the bike and camping in a national park and hiking or going, biking or hiking along the way, or, at an event, at a rally. Like, if you're riding a chopper across country, hallelujah, sweet on your butt. If you are doing an iron butt rally, even sweet, like, get after it. If you are just putting your butt in the seat for the first time and you feel what it feels like to get that wind through your hair and that burn in your heart, sweet on you. You are welcomed into the community and you are a biker. I don't know how else to say it. I'm kind of put off, and I don't like being grumpy Gus, but I just got to say enough's enough, people. Like, stop judging everybody on the way they ride. There's enough love to go around. With that being said, I'm going to move on to the iron butt, and that means this is what this looks like. I'll pull up. I've got a bunch of them sitting here of years past because I wanted to make a this is the iron butt certificate for the Tour of Honor. So in 2016, I did 1,000 miles in less than 24 hours to complete Nevada. And so the Iron Butt, Michael Kneebone and his gang are he's head of the Iron Butt Association, which is comprised of over 60,000 riders all around the world. Like, this is not just a, it's our community, it's our homies. The whole motto is the world's toughest motorcycle riders, and it encapsulates the long distance rider, the ultra rider, the endurance rider. It's part of the association that I belong to when I say I'm going out and doing an iron butt. People throw that term around loosely, which is fine too. For some people 200 miles in the saddle might be an iron butt, but when those of us that actually compete in this side of the sport, we're actually referring to some sort of a ride that has strict guidelines by the Iron Butt Association, and there's several of them. You can go to ironbutt.com and check out. This is actually a list of the different types of rides. I don't know if that's zooming in for you. The Saddle Sore 1000 is the most common. It's 1,000 miles in less than 24 hours. You got the Bun Burner, which is 1,500 miles in less than 36 hours. The one that I think is personally the hardest is the Bun Burner 1500 Gold, which is less than 24 hours. That one's a pretty hard one. Some of the cool ones is, they're all cool, but the National Park Tours series, like if you visit at least 50 national parks in at least 25 states, that's another ride. The 48 States in 10 Days series. How about this one? Ultimate Coast to Coast. Key West, Florida to remote Prudhoe Bay, Alaska. That's the one I want to do. I actually want to do Ushuaia to Alaska 2020. You're hearing it, claiming it. Yeah, so I mean, when we say iron butt ride, it's strict guidelines. Like, you actually have to be Unless you're a premier member, you get a witness at the start and the end, and you collect your gas receipts and odometer, and you have to submit maps, and it's a legit thing. And we, as riders that ride in the Iron Butt, absolutely love it. So again, if you hear Iron Butt out there loosely, that's fine, but know that it is an association that those of us that ride, it's our community within this beautiful, glorious two-wheeled world. We love it. So yeah, I don't know what else to show you here. Here's another one of mine that I got a few years ago. This is the Iron Butt Association 50cc. That does not mean I crossed the country on a 50cc, although that would be pretty cool. Can't lie. That means coast to coast in under 50 hours. Some of you know, did it in 41 hours on my Road Glide baby, and I have my sights set on May 23rd, doing it again. And we'll see how that goes. Hopefully it'll be smooth sailing. Ended up hitting all kinds of crazy weather and gnarliness that trip, so we'll see what we can do. But again, I've got a stack of them here. A lot of them, 1,000 miles in 24 hours to the 1,500 in 24 hours. That's this one, the Bun Burner Gold. I'm trying to figure out how to drive my iPad here. You know, so that's what we do. That's the sport of ultra. That's the Iron Butt. The Tour of Honor is a great way. They are not affiliated as associations. The Iron Butt and the Tour of Honor are two completely separate things. However, because it's the same brother-sisterhood, if you will, the Iron Butt recognizes the Tour of Honor as being an event that those of us that are going out from that aspect of the ride recognizes that if we can collect all 7 memorials in under 24 hours, they give us their Saddle Sore Extreme. This year I'll be getting that for Nevada, as well as doing it in under 24 hours, which same state or in-state 24 hours, which is a little bit, just adds another level to it, if you will. So does anybody have any questions on 41 hours? Yes, Carlos, that was. And 41 hours across country in 50cc. I got to talk a little bit about that ride, I suppose. That ride was insane. It was intense. We hit monsoons across Louisiana. Ended up having to detour, but man, it was gnarly, torrential downpour. That was the same time in 2016 that Houston was underwater, so we hit gnarliness there. By the time we got into Texas, I don't know if any of you have ridden during the tornado skies, and they're ominous and they're eerie and they're creepy, and they're really cool at the same time. But we're right across Texas, and the skies just got gnarly and started spinning in almost that greenish gray color, and got stopped on the interstate because a semi-truck had gotten flipped about a mile in front of where we were. So thankfully, because of the monsoons, we got delayed, but yeah, I mean, that put it all kind of in perspective. Just a mile in front of us, a tractor trailer had gotten flipped. So once got through all of that, I got to Arizona. I was like, I'm almost there. Mind you, San Diego, still quite a ways away, but I felt so close. And we hit record heat for May. Like, it was rotisserie chicken. So at the end of going through everything going and just being like, yeah, I felt like a rotisserie chicken, but ended up getting to the coast. It was 41 and a half hours to be exact, and was able to claim the 50cc. So these trips are never dull. That's for darn sure. Hi, Steve Brooks, the man, the myth, the legend, talking about Tour of Honor. That is the man right there, and his brother who started this glorious event. Where am I? I'm in the Urban Bike Barn, which is my studio. I call it my she cave. This place was built and designed. Many of you don't know because I don't talk about it, and I probably should. Over the last 5 years, have had several TV deals in terms of production and possibilities of a show. I've dreamed of having a show called Rally All to Rise as One. Supports nonprofit in the motorcycle community, and throughout the years, I've had several deals and opportunities to make stuff happen. They've always gone sideways one way or another. I'm not willing to show more boob, and I'm not willing to have more drama. So there you have it, if I gotta say it. Yeah, so I built out the urban bike barn here. The whole idea was I was gonna do my own show, and I was gonna go out there and capture my travels, which I have done for the last 5 years. So you guys are gonna start seeing more, it's older footage, but I'm gonna cut it from here, tell you my story, the background of it, and then cut to the footage. And so this was the idea of also capturing new footage and doing a regular series. And then I got my Grammy, and that's why I didn't ride last year as much as I usually do. So everything kind of came to a screeching halt because family is number one and my Grammy is my world right now. So that's that. But this is the Urban Bike Barn, the creative juju. Try not to get you sick by spinning, but everything in here tells a story. Everything was either donated, lots of tribute to Americana. It's a tribute to love of barns. I love barns across the country. You can see me stopped on the side of the road taking in barns. They tell such story and the stuff that you find in them. But it's in Reno. So yeah, Reno, the Urban Bike Barn. It's not open to the public. It's only open when I'm not riding and by appointment. But yeah, that's that. So thanks for asking. Let's see who else is on here. Yeah, Jay. Long distance peeps in the house. Jeff Cox. Hi. Jeff Cox, you do such amazing things in Indianapolis. I love what you do. And every time I'm through there, I love saying hi. Met him at the Peyton Manning toy drive. No, I met you before that. I met you at Harley Davidson in Indianapolis. That's right, with my uncle. Matthew Wolf. Hi. Yes, I try. The few things that we have in life is integrity, right? And Danny Collins. Hi, Danny. Some of you have met Danny. Danny is part of Team Throttle Girl. She always will be. We do a big fundraiser in her brother's honor, who happened to be one of the people that I cried about earlier. Lost her brother in a helicopter accident, but we do a big thing for him for Reese Across America every year at Street Vibrations here in Reno. And like I said, a lot of you have met Danny. She's come to Sturgis with me as well and done my event up there, and she's just goodpeople.com. So, hi, Danny. And Jerry, haven't seen you either in a long time. Okay, I gotta stop talking to everybody on here. Let's, I love you, Jerry. Betty, I had to throw that in there. She'll know what that means. So yeah, basically covered it all. I think if anybody has any questions about an iron butt, whether or not you're doing it for the first time, what it really is about, like I said, go to ironbutt.com. You can actually get more information there. We are a 60,000 person strong community all around the world. There's rides all around the world. It really is the upper level of the sport of long distance riding, what I like to call ultra riding. I think that made the most sense to me. I don't know if some of you heard that earlier, like somebody said this the other day and I was like, genius, because when people ask me if I'm an endurance rider, they don't really get it. But I have lots of friends that run ultra marathons, and while you would never catch me out there, I can completely appreciate what they do. And it's the same thing for this niche, tomato, within the motorcycle community. Going back to the Tour of Honor one more time, this is my flag this year, the pins. I also wanted to show you a couple things that I'm always riding with. Challenge coins are a big deal. I always have my father's challenge coin with me. As I pointed out, some of the pins I ride in his honor. Everybody in this community decorates their flags, whether it be pictures, patches, their own mementos. These things are very personal to us, and they tell a story. Doc, I don't know, Doc, are you on here? If you're on here, got this actually from Russ, but you guys are brothers, and Doc is one of the most amazing men I've met in a really long time. I actually asked him if he would adopt me. He'd be my daddy after my father passed, because he's just such an amazing human being, and he got his name as Doc in Vietnam. So I carry my dad's pictures. This is my daddy. That is my dad going in to the boot camp, Marine boot camp. Look at that goofy smile. Like, I love it. He's like, here we go. That's my dad. I carry him. And you want to see what, so this is what he looked like going in. And he came out a man. And that's my dad. He was actually the blues recipient. He came out first in his class out of boot camp. Pretty big honor pretty big honor, period. Honor blues recipient. So yeah, so he comes with me. His challenge coin's always with me. I carry his Marine Corps Bible that he got when he enlisted, the pocket Bible. Still has the rubber band and whatnot around it that he carried. Oh, I'm not gonna cry. I'm not gonna do it. I miss him every day. And these rides and getting out there in the Tour of Honor, I can talk to him. That's the place where I talk most with him, and I know he's with me all the time. Damn it, I wasn't gonna do this. So thank you. I'm gonna change the topic now. This Nevada route, if you have an opportunity to ride the 2018 Tour of Honor in Nevada, 2018 route, whoa, you guys did an amazing job. So hats off to the state sponsors. A lot of time and energy goes into making these routes, but you took me through every single favorite place of mine in the state of Nevada. This is my backyard. And every time I come back to the bike barn passing, usually coming from across the country or everywhere else in America, I always pass Great Basin National Park and be like, I'm coming back here. I got to spend more time. And this took me actually in and the closest to it and around coming up from the Las Vegas area. So 2018, another thing to say about the Tour of Honor is there's 1 through 7 checkpoints. You do not have to collect them in consecutive order. So on April 1st, when the sites are dropped, 9 o'clock Pacific time, midnight Eastern, you can click on the website and on a state. Let me see if I got a better one here. You can click on the state and it'll pop up and it'll ping everywhere that there's a checkpoint. Being that this is my home turf, I know the state pretty well, so I knew what direction I wanted to go. I basically knew I was going to be riding through the night. I took off at 11 o'clock at night and ended at 8 o'clock the following night. But I knew where I wanted to go, where was going to be the easiest for riding at night, etc. And I just tried to strategically plan it in my own head how it was going to work out. So the sites ping up like this, and then on the side you get the checkpoints of where they are. So for instance, Genoa was my first one, which is Nevada 3. That's the first place I went. But so you don't have to do them in consecutive order as long as you do all 7 if you're going for the certificate. And again, you don't have to. Just get the few if that's what you want to do. I mean, this is for everybody. So what I recommend everybody do, tech being what it is today, if your technology goes out, I personally actually take a picture of the screenshot on my laptop so I have it on my camera phone, or you can print out the maps like this, and you'll actually see the description of the memorial and what the picture looks like of the memorial. So you try to stage your bike with your flag number and take a picture as close as the picture as possible as you can to what's listed. That's how the scorers can verify that you've been there. And then you can read some on the memorial, as well as I create a Google map and I put the coordinates in, and so therefore it just, everybody has their own deal. My GPS is off more times than it's on my bike because, well, I'm just not that techie girl. But I know a lot of people like the GPX files, I think they are. Correct me if I'm wrong. So for instance, Boulder City was all the way down by the Hoover Dam outside of Vegas. That one was a really cool memorial. That one actually, it recognized the USS Corvina, which was a submarine that actually made it to Pearl Harbor in October 1943. And yeah, it says clearing New London, Connecticut on September 18th, 1943. The submarine USS Corvina arrived at Pearl Harbor on October 14th and left on her maiden war patrol November 4th, topping off her fuel tanks at Johnston Island 2 days later, and was never heard from again. So this whole memorial is built around honoring those men and that vessel, that ship, that submarine, which I just got a segue. If some of you guys have met my Grammy, I'm still working on getting her in the sidecar. She was actually the World War II Navy Queen, Miss Palm Beach, Florida. She spent a lot of time on different vessels going around waving and doing USO stuff during that time. But I also had a great uncle, which was an admiral that was actually in Pearl Harbor. Admiral Hudson, Roy Hudson. He's buried in Arlington. So when I see a lot of this World War II stuff, like, it rings with a lot of my family lineage. So that's basically what you do. You get on, you click the state. If you're going to Sturgis this year and you're crossing through, I don't know, Ohio to get there, you can see where you might be able to get memorials along the way. And again, just embrace the ride. So another thing here I want to show you about the ride. Oh, I know, Steve, you wanted me to tell riders too, and I want to get this out, that if you are planning on doing an iron butt ride, for all you long distance riders out there, or somebody maybe trying to do it for their first time, if you are planning on doing it, when you submit your checkpoints, your memorials, make sure that you make it clear that you've collected all 7 memorials in the state and that you are going for the iron butt. Because then they'll be prepared to send you the paperwork that you need to submit to the Iron Butt Association to get that. And it'll save a lot of frustration and communication back and forth if you just get her done. So if you're going for an iron butt in the Tour of Honor, make sure that you let the scores know that when you're submitting all 7 memorials for your pictures. There you have it. Straight from the horse's mouth. I don't know. I don't really have much more to say about the Tour of Honor, except for that it's my favorite ride out there. And it really has become that. I've met more people, logged more miles, seen more places, pays tribute to the men and women, the first responders, military. I mean, I don't know, does it get any better than that? I don't think so. Also, thank you, Jay, for reminding me. If you get on Rever, a lot of us are on Rever as well. They are doing a mileage campaign too for the Tour of Honor. So join that challenge. You'll get on Rever. If you're not familiar with it, it's a app that logs your rides, tracks your mileage, all that fun stuff. But they have a bunch of different challenges on there that you can participate in, and one of them is with the Tour of Honor as well. So, Michael, hi, Kneebone, good to see you. I just got done talking about the iron butt. The man, the myth, the legend, right there. I guess at this point what I want to be able to say is, again, big, huge thank you to Steve Brooks, Dave Brooks for putting on the Tour of Honor. You guys rock the vision, the insight. Thank you, Michael Kneebone, for the energy and all that you put into making the Iron Butt Association the grand poobah of us long-distance riders. And I know all this stuff behind the scenes takes so much work, and it's a testament to passion. It really is, and moves more than wheels. So, spinning you around. I said on Facebook I was going to do something that I wanted to announce, and this year the Tour of Honor is giving out a plaque for that person who raises the most amount of money for the nonprofits that we were benefacting. Is that a right word? I think so. Anyway, the benefactors of the Tour of Honor, the 3. As you know, as Throttle Girl, I'm Throttle Girl, but it was never supposed to be about me. It was supposed to be about this amazing community that we are, the 2nd largest philanthropic group in the world behind churches. And most people don't know that, right? We're big, tattooed, mean guys, but we're really like pit bulls. We'll probably end up licking you to death. We raise more money every weekend. People are rallying for things. So that was really my thing as Throttle Girl. I really wanted to focus on that and the things that are near and dear to my heart. Pay it forward. Can't keep it unless you give it away. And I know I'm incredibly blessed, and I don't take that for granted. So with that being said, well, yes, there is an award this year for the person that raises the most for the nonprofits. I would like to be able to set up a campaign in honor of those 3 charities, the Fisher House, the one foundation, actually, I'm sorry, I'm going to come back over here because I want to give you all a little bit of blurb. Good thing these lives are supposed to be rambles, because that's what you got today. When you go, so the Fisher House, I've already talked about that. That's my primary one that I really support. The Operation Comfort Warriors was another one that I was never really familiar with, but what they do is, you know, when they come home, our men and women, there's a lot of necessities, or there's a lot that the government doesn't do for these men and women. And so Operation Comfort Warriors, you can get on, I'm looking at the website right now, you can get on the Tour of Honor website at tourofhonor.com and check out and read more about them. But what they supply is all the things that the government doesn't, and not all of them, but some. So things like maybe sweatsuits or calling cards, the comforts, creature comforts that will make them feel better. So there's a lot of cool things they do there. And then the other one that I wasn't familiar with was the Fallen Heroes. It's California based, but it's pretty amazing. It does the fallen, it honors the fallen heroes of both police and fire. So if you get online, you can read all about the 3 nonprofits. But what I'd like to be able to do is, in the next coming days, you'll see me posting about it. I was hoping to have it up today, didn't get it finished. I'm going to be creating a crowdfunding page where at different tiers, different levels, if you contribute to these nonprofits, you will get something from my Throttle upline. And the different tiers will be in the crowdfunding page. So for a certain amount of level of contribution, we could get a t-shirt. Women, we got women tankies, Throttle Up. Again, this was all about don't let the world take away your freedom, let your freedom lighten the world, more or less. There's another one here, another t-shirt. So this is what I call my America Rides Strong line. It's been at the rallies the last couple years. I got hats too. So in this particular line, because it's all made for my Wreaths Across America campaigns and to honor the men and women of service, both civil service as well as military, I think it's appropriate to rally the community around raising a little bit money for our charities with the Tour of Honor. So that will be coming live in a couple days. Hopefully tomorrow even, but I'd like to give myself a little window, but you will see me post on it. And that's really it, you guys. I love y'all. Long distance riding community is like no other. I know a bunch of you guys have been rallying all across the country to meet and greet, and it's one big family, and I can't be stoked enough. The one thing I do want to leave today on is, again, the Tour of Honor is for everybody. It's not just an endurance ride. It's not just for the hardcore. It's not just get out there and ride. See roads, see things that you haven't seen before. And the other thing I want to leave everybody on is enough banter. No more banter on Facebook or any of the other ones. We all ride. It doesn't matter if you're a hardcore 40-year bobber riding, chopper riding guy, gal, or if you're just getting on a bike for a first time, like embrace how each of us ride and, you know, be stoked on it. Throttle up for each other. That's what we're here for. So yeah, appreciate all and have fun out there. Enjoy the ride, and I'll see you next week. I'm going to try to keep doing these lives and touch base a little bit more. So much love to you guys all. Throttle up. Thanks for listening to me ramble a little bit about the Tour of Honor, Iron Butt, and the sport of endurance riding, and we'll catch you on the flip side. Wind therapy, it's coming.